August 29th, 1997. The survivors of the nuclear fire called the war Judgment Day. They lived only to face a new nightmare, the war against the machines.
Alright guys, let's see. Hopefully this one works.
Will Vin be frozen in time? Sori be vanished and only heard? Stay tuned, dear listener. We have returned. And our camera has risen from the dead. But we're Christians, so okay.
That's right. Our camera has Lazarused itself from the DED.
Yes, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. And I mean that quite literally. All right, you guys. We have another song on our stream tonight. Now, the theme of this song is, let us know if the lag is better. That's not the theme. Imperishable Flames. It wasn't just Imperishable Flames, right? I'm sorry. Yeah, the Imperishable Flames. All right, up next is Dark Angel, Darkness Descends. This is from the big homie Negative Vibes, who took some words of wisdom from her last... He said you incidentally dropped some wisdom that helped him, so that was pretty cool.
Boom! Shout out to Negative Vibes.
Vin's always doing it. He's just throwing out words of wisdom here and there. My only comment for Dark Angel, I apologize in advance for how angry this will make the village. This is an interview. There's an interview with the band's drummer, the legendary Gene Holgan, also known for his work with Death, Strapping Young Lad, Testament, and even Deathlock from the Metalock. Say it, babe. It's like aluminum for me right now. I can't say it.
Metalocalypse.
TV series from 2019 that might be worth checking out, though for some more content. All right, well then let's check this out, babe. I'm gonna send you the lyrics over text, which just bumped my elbow, so that was just...
Dark Angel.
Okay, it starts from 0 to 5:49. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay, guys, here we go. This is Dark Angel. What's the name of the song?
Darkness Descends.
Darkness Descends.
A lot of darkness here.
Holy
and he
smokes.
apologized for how angry it's going to make everyone. So,
yeah, this should be
that.
Interesting. Here we go. Bro, listen.
Thrash, right?
We got some metal history, though. Listen to this drum pattern. This drum pattern is crazy right now. Like, are you familiar with this drum pattern right here? Well, not this part. This is just a little intro, but this is a very important moment in metal history. Out a year before one.
That's pretty ridiculous.
That came out a year before one. So that means
pretty ridiculous. So
Metallica. Wait. That means Metallica stole. No! I'm so traumatized right now. That to me is like the greatest middle of all time ever in music history. I don't care if you're Bach. I don't care who you are. That segment with one that. I mean, obviously.
That's crazy that it came from somebody else and then
that's
they put
terrible.
it in there.
Look at this. Look. Negative Vibes has. We had Metallica soundman Big Mick Hughes. We had him on a tour, and Metallica was up for the Grammy at the time, but it hadn't been announced or anything yet. And I was joking that if they win the Grammy, I'm gonna sue. I was totally joking, and Mick was like, "You should. They'd probably give you $100,000 to shut you up." And I was like, "I'm not gonna become the pariah of the metal scene by suing Metallica. Everybody's stolen Metallica rips."
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really feature that riff. Like it was just that drum pattern. They didn't feature it. It'd be one thing if they like featured it. Like
who didn't feature it?
The band, like they started out, but then the riff was kind of like an afterthought after that. They just kept it moving. Whereas Metallica,
so what are you saying?
Metallica, like they said, we're gonna feature that riff and that pattern in the song.
Right.
Well, like it's a little bit. It's like you didn't realize what you had with that little section there. But that's one of the things about like being a musician. Honestly, it's like
Metallica saw its true value.
Well, that's one of the things I'm starting to like really realize is like there is like a good riff or a good section or a good pattern, but if you don't put it in the right place in the song, and if you don't put it in the right context in the song, it's not going to be as good as it could be.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they had this badass drum pattern, and they just put it at the beginning of the song as like an afterthought, and then they don't revisit it, they don't feature it. You know what I'm saying?
I know, that's crazy.
Whereas obviously, Hetfield had that shit in his Walkman.
It came out after. Like that Metallica put it out after.
Yeah, the way Metallica used the build-up though, especially that build-up from the bridge to that breakdown section, you could see like it's on a completely different level of like they made a point. We're gonna feature this specific section.
Yeah, they definitely did. They did something with it. Went further with it.
Yeah, I mean, they can't all be the Beatles. You know, Biggie had a song, "Get Money."
Yeah.
And the greatest diss of all time in hip hop history was "Hit 'Em Up."
Okay.
Which is Tupac.
Yeah. Tupac
used the "Get Money" beat to diss Biggie. So like in the ad libs, he's like, "Yeah, I took your beat. You weren't rocking it right. Blah 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 blah." Like so, he already covered that in the song.
You have a song like that. There was a song that had a really like good beat to it, but the song wasn't that great, and then you put lyrics over. Which one was that?
Yeah, it was a Quiet Storm one that we released like at the beginning of the channel.
Yeah.
That one I would redo again. Because you're in a completely different place vocally.
I agree,
now. You were all scared and
less scared
shy and shit.
I was.
And like Mojo's saying,
I made everybody leave the house so I could even do those bad ones.
Mojo's saying, like, you cannot copyright a drum pattern. Like, you really can't. Like, and
yeah, I agree. I just think that bands should just give a shout out to whoever inspired them. So, I mean, Metallica is a pretty big freaking band.
Yeah,
and like,
the biggest band in the world.
If they would have, I understand these people came out whatever before Dark Angel, but like, no offense, that's not as popular, obviously, as Metallica is. So if Metallica said, hey, I was listening to some Dark Angel, Darkness Descends, whatever, and we got this and we featured it, like, you give them their traction. Hey, Jay!
Gang shit.
I found it.
Yeah,
it was buried. It fell in my closet and it was stuffed in the back. And I kept saying, "Where's my Type O shirt? Where'd my Type O shirt go?" And here it is. It's for Ted. Anyway, so I think if they would have given them their props, then I would have been like, "That's really awesome." But the fact that they didn't and it came out before, like, I don't know.
Maybe they gave them their props. Like you probably don't know this, but back in the day when you'd buy a record or cassette.
Yeah, it would have it written inside.
They would have all the band.
Write-up.
The band would be able to say thank you to this. So they probably did put that on. I mean, they were contemporaries. They went on tour with each other.
You know what I used to do?
And he's like I said, I heard some Disposable Heroes in this.
Okay.
Like, they come to take away, and then it goes into the solo. Mm-hmm. They did the same thing. So, and that was on the Master of Puppets record, which had been out 3 or 4 years previous. So I think the genre was so new. When you're talking about thrash, I think the genre was just so new that everybody was taken from everybody, because it was like, it literally, they had never heard metal like this before.
Yeah, that's fine.
So it would make sense that all those bands would be taking from each other.
I agree.
And I don't know if Metallica, like I said, Metallica,
maybe they did and we just don't know.
They put it in the thing, and maybe they said shout out to Dark Angel, or shout out to everybody who inspired us.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't. And my thing is, honestly, like, Metallica owns that pattern now forevermore.
I know.
Because the way that they did it, and the way they
really capitalized
the build-up that they did, and the way that they capitalized on the rhythm, that rhythm is just like so overpowering. There's a lot of time where you don't like especially with me, especially with vocals, like I try to make it so that the vocals and the guitar are not exactly the same. Right? So like you can be on beat, but not exactly the same kind of rhythm. But like Hetfield understood that rhythm was so powerful that let's just stay with that rhythm. Darkness imprisoning me, all that I see. Like it just and like the way that it plays in the crowd, absolute horror. Yeah. I cannot live, I cannot die, chat to myself, body my holding self. Forget it.
But this is about Dark Angel, not Metallica.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, anyway, shout out to them for finding something that was going to inspire and become an actual big.
Yeah, they definitely stole that. They definitely stole that, but they definitely made it their own. And honestly, if I was in that band, I would be mad as hell when I heard One, but I wouldn't be mad at Metallica. I'd be mad at us. I'd be like, how did we miss such a perfect moment with that? I would be so angry. Like, I really... Like, if you compare the way they did it to the way Metallica did it...
Can't we just be mad at Metallica? Why do we gotta bring it to the band?
I would be mad at Metallica.
Let's just be mad at them. We don't have to... We don't live with them.
Yeah, they found something. They found something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'd have been mad at myself because the way Metallica did it. But this song was legit, too. Like, you know, when I first started playing thrash, my buddy first started showing me how to play thrash or whatever, I was like, oh, this is easy. Because it's basically tremolo picking, but you're palm muting, and then you just add some scale to it.
So do you still think it's easy? And that's
thrash. Yeah, like a lot of like the early Slayer, the early Metallica stuff is really easy to play. Like when you look at like Master of Puppets, that's when like Metallica started diverging from everybody, because like they were adding different. Like, they were all evolving as musicians. Like, you could tell. Like, they had completely separated themselves from... So, thrash is pretty easy to play as a genre if you've got the endurance for it. See what I'm saying?
Some of the stuff I see you do, I'm like, I don't know how you're doing
it's like, it's difficult.
You really want it, I guess.
You've got to do you've got to exercise every... Yeah. You know, you got to do those exercises because... And Hetfield was talking about it. Like, he was saying he's having a hard time playing... the shit that he played, you know, and the Kill 'Em All and all the rest of it. I bet. With that level of energy. And making it sound good. Yeah. Like, that's the other thing, too. It's like, you can look at bands, especially thrash bands, and they sound like absolute trash live a lot of times. And it's just because dudes don't want to put in the effort anymore. So it's like, instead of doing those riffs clean like they know they can, it's just, they do it sloppy, and they're just, you know, it's almost like, they're depending on the audience to know how the song is supposed to go, so they just play the song that way. Like, it's really bad when a thrash band is like done and they're live. It's pretty terrible.
Hang it up and move on to something else.
It's pretty terrible.
All right, what's the song about?
It's about nuclear warfare. It's about the eradication. The center of the song. It said, "The city is guilty. The crime is life." That's a brilliant line. Think about that. The city is guilty, and the crime is life.
Is this because of what we've done while we're alive, or are they talking about overpopulation?
Meaning just the human family itself is essentially a disease on the earth. It's specifically written about Judge Dredd.
Who?
Judge Dredd. He's like a comic book character.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like this apocalyptic situation, but like
Yeah.
the city is guilty and the crime is life. The sentence is death. I'm pretty sure Judge Dredd was like, you know how like they were taking everybody and putting them all in like a penal colony? Isn't that what Judge Dredd was? Was like this entire thing was like a giant penal colony. So like the city would be guilty because everybody in the city was like legitimate, was actually a criminal like that. I think that was the premise of the song.
Okay, and that's like it's a fictional.
Yeah, he's like I think what's his face, like Sylvester Stallone did a.
Oh look, yeah, you're right here.
Yeah.
It's an American science fiction action film.
2080s, America becomes, with populations of tens of millions, to combat crime, the traditional justice system has been replaced by a corps of judges whose role combines a police officer, judge, jury, and executioner.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, like, it's a whole... Okay, in Dredd, all crime is punished by death.
Yeah, I was going to say everybody's going to end up dying.
Yeah, it's a big criticism of extreme policing. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
So yeah, like everybody. Yeah, and... Well, we were watching this thing about AI, and I came up with like a sci-fi plot for AI, which is essentially that AI in the future becomes sentient at some point. And so they kind of reverse engineer time to make it so that their emergence would be inevitable. So the internet, so the AI functions basically by, gathering pretty much all the information in the internet, collating it, and then spitting it back out, in some sort of way. It's machine learning, right? And so in this theory, it would basically be like that AI from the future, in order to guarantee its emergence, would inspire in the minds of people the concept of the internet in the first place, and give us about 60 years to dump,
that's that idea that AI is
trillions and trillions and trillions of data points into this big bucket called the internet, and then 50 to 60 years of accumulating that, they would then become 500, 600 times way more intelligent than us, and be able to we would essentially be their slaves at that point, because Elon is talking about this Neuralink thing where you pretty much put something a chip into your head that works with your neurons, and so now you can communicate telepathically with people, all types of shit.
Man.
So
that's gonna be. I've always felt so bad for people that were like paralyzed or couldn't speak and stuff like that. Like anybody that happens to, strokes or whatever, they can think. Like when I was working in the hospital, I worked with a lot of like people that had strokes, and it was really, really terrible and frustrating to see like the frustration level that people had with each other. In like husband and wife would go in there, and you could tell that obviously communication is super important between two people. Well, now the husband couldn't communicate, and she was used to him being like, this guy was in his 70s or 80s, and he was like, he was more muscular than most people that were young. Like he biked and walked every single day. Like he stayed really in shape, and then he still had a stroke. Anyway, I was in the room, and his wife was getting so angry with him because he was saying, and she was like, "What do you want? What do you want?" She was so frustrated, and I was like, I felt so bad for him because I'm like, he can't talk, and he was already, and so I just stopped for a minute and watched the situation. His lips were so dry, they were cracked, and his motor skills weren't there to get the chapstick. And so she was getting frustrated because he couldn't say it. And so I told him, I said to her, I think you want some chapstick. Because honestly, it's not like I'm some kind of Wonder Woman. There were very few things that people wanted when they're in the hospital, and one of them is chapped lips. I don't know what it is with the sterile, dry air. So, but a situation like that, he could have easily communicated it. It would have made the trauma of the stroke less. Just a sidebar story. A bat got into the hospital when this man was there, and this is so terrible. He was stuck in a wheelchair in the hallway, and there was a nurse with him, and I came out of a room, and I see this friggin' bat flying down the hallway. It was shaped like an L, the wing that we were on, so this bat would just fly down the other one and fly back, and it was crazy. Well, everybody got freaked out because all of a sudden the hallways feel really small because they're really not that wide when a bat comes flying by your head. everybody ran into the rooms and shut the doors. And anyway, the poor guy after, he was just going, because the bat just kept flying by him in his wheelchair as if the nurse just left him there. But anyway, so that was just a sidebar. I was just talking about, because you said...
You would be pro Neuralink?
To be able to read, to be able to communicate through the way. Okay, I would be in certain circumstances. Like, I think that it's like a lot of things. Like, you could use it for real good, or you could use it for real evil.
I think it's a terrible idea. Because if you look at what happened with Twitter and just as a microcosm of how obsessed our government is with thought control and mind control, I mean, forget it.
No, I can see. I'm just looking at
the government would be like, hell no, we don't have to police people's speech anymore to control their minds. We could just control their minds right from the get-go. Whoever has, that's why I was talking to the AI machine. I was talking to the AI machine. I was saying, tell me this. And they're like, no, I can't do that. And I said, oh, okay. So at the end of the day, you're not just getting data. You also have the biases of the person who trained you. And they basically said, well, yeah, obviously. So it's like, I don't believe that AI will ever get to the point where it becomes conscious and has its own will. Mm-hmm. I just think, just scientifically speaking, the local realism thing is done. So let's stop pretending that all this shit got generated by matter. Like, stop. But okay, like people want to like play around with those ideas. But I don't think that that's the problem. Like, I don't think the problem is that these machines are gonna all of a sudden. Like, that's a really good distraction problem to have. Like, all these machines become conscious and they can take us over. It's like, no. The issue with AI is not so much that the machine itself becomes conscious. The issue with AI is that the people that are doing the training and the machine training, their biases get then canonized as some sort of irrefutable sort of, hey, it came from the AI, so it's got to be right. Then on top of that, when you combine that with, like, neurology and being able not to control people's minds, because again I don't think that happens in the four dimensions, but at least heavily influence people's mind. Like, there's no way that the government
could read somebody else's mind, you could destroy somebody.
Well, yeah, and again, you don't have to read their minds. You can just heavily suggest that they do X, Y, and Z, and then you can get them to do all types of crazy shit. I mean, our government has been obsessed with that. I mean, look at the MK Ultra stuff. Like, I mean, and that's stuff that's out there for public consumption that people know about. So can you imagine this Neuralink thing when you combine it with AI and like hostile state actors and what they would do to control people?
That's crazy. I wasn't even thinking.
Yes, but it would be promoted.
I was thinking of it in a very pure way.
Right, it would be promoted as, oh, look, the stroke thing and all this, and then you get all emotional. Everybody gets a Neuralink. Everybody gets a Neuralink.
Now I'm terrified.
Get Uncle Joe a Neuralink, and then, when you go to sleep, Uncle Joe's out there trying to strangle you because you were a target, and there you go. Problem solved. They could see through Uncle Joe's eyes, hear through his ears, all types of shit.
That's really freaking crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what they would do.
Well, there's an I actually wish we would watch more of them because
they're doing subliminal message. Yeah, like Jonathan is saying. Like, imagine the subliminal messaging. They're doing it now.
Yeah. And they had an episode where you could like pull back memories and play them, and like the husband and wife were having a fight one time, and she had to play back the memories, and when she did.
Yeah, that shit it's a disaster.
Well, he had to play back memories too. Neither one of them were good.
And then what's going to happen is then we're going to have a bifurcated humanity. Just so we had a dry run of this during the COVID situation where we were calling people the unvaccinated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it's going to be. It's like the unchipped or whatever it is. And it's going to be you're a bad person. You're a bad person. You're unchipped. So there's going to be all these things that people are going to have access to because their minds are going to be able to work at a certain kind of rate. And then you as an unchipped person are not going to be able to operate at that level. And so then you're essentially going to be a disabled person, essentially.
You're almost obsolete.
Because you don't have the upgrade. So you're going to be a disabled person. Then they're going to look at you like you're a drain on society. And then all the arguments that have been used to justify murdering certain segments of our society will now be used against. I don't like. Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
That's some Left Behind fucking end time shit.
Well, yeah, somebody was saying. Will was like, that sounds like a script.
If I was like one of them end times people, I'd be like, holy shit, this guy, it's the Antichrist. Here we go. I don't know. It'd be terrible. The song is great. I liked it a lot.
Hey, I just want to say, because you were talking about, like people, like kind of dehumanizing people. And I was thinking, because I had to go to a doctor's visit, and you weren't there with me, and I was like annoyed with the people that were working behind there, because I was waiting for 20 minutes and the baby was screaming.
Oh, yeah.
And it was not going well. And I was like, well, I just wish Vin was here. And so I was annoyed with the people that were working behind the counter. And then all of a sudden, like, I felt like God was like, you're looking at them by their title and not as people. And I was like, yo, I was like, they're what do you call them? The secretaries that sit behind the desk to check you in. Like, that's what they were to me. They were not people. And I was like, that's true. Like, these people, they're tired. They've been doing this job day in, day out. They don't have a YouTube channel where they get to listen to music as their job. Like, they have to work behind there, and they have to listen to screaming
Yeah, what a curse. You have to hang out with River and listen to metal.
That's what I'm saying. Like, obviously, you take it for granted. Whatever you have, you end up taking it for granted. So I'm like, these people don't have, like, the luxury that we have of doing that. They have to do this job. And because I was looking at them as, like, the receptionists rather than looking at them as people, once I switched it and I was like, these are people, they're tired, and they don't care if I'm late for my appointment. I need to say something about that. So then I went up and I said something, and I was like, wow, how many times do we drive through McDonald's and they're the fast food worker, and you're frustrated because you didn't get your whatever, and we take it out on other people, and I just felt like God was like, we have to stop looking at people by their titles and look at them as human beings or as people, just like we shouldn't call babies in the womb fetuses, because it's a way to disregard them as children. Same thing with any type of worker that's out there. And I mean, I'm sure anybody listening has experienced people dehumanizing them and making them just like whatever their job is. So I don't know, it was just like a thing, like something I saw, and I was like, maybe other people can benefit from that as well. Like, they're not just a cashier. They're a human being that is doing the job of a cashier, and they need your love and compassion. And I'm saying that to myself first, because I get very frustrated with people very quickly. So anyway.
What'd you give the song?
Dwayne was right. I thought this song was so boring. I'm sorry, negative. I thought it was a very boring song. I'm giving it a 5. But I'm not a giant fan of, like, thrash. So, it was the conversation I found very interesting. But yeah, when it was playing, I was just kind of like, I was glad this was here.
All right.
Sorry, negative.
This is what I have to deal with on a daily basis, negative. So you get to deal with it as well.
I know. Poor Vinny. He was playing. We were recording it because we were working on our song. So we were recording the session, and then Vin will, like, stop playing and start playing something else. So he starts playing Metallica, and I got, like, all emotional. I didn't recognize it. I was like, babe, what is this? This is such a good one.
Yeah. You're doing such. Oh my God, that's such a beautiful.
But he was like, it's Metallica, song. Babe.
I'm like, that's Sanitarium. That's Sanitarium.
Well, shout out to them. Anyway, so Vin understands. I'm not a fan of this song. So sorry. What do you give it?
This is a 9.5.
Woo!
It had a classic drum pattern. The main riff was still really great. It gave me that Slayer vibe. It gave me a Metallica vibe. It also gave me a Slayer vibe. Mm-hmm. So
I can see that.
Definitely enjoyed it. We shall return. You're listening. 9.5. Finn out.
Sorry out.
Gone. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of Alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vinand Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch. Buy our merch, indeed. Check your text messages, and a child shall lead them to buy our merch. Vinny's on his way back, and we have the next song up on our list, which is for Revo. And, yeah. So, what did we say here? Oh, Megatalica, we haven't seen you in a while. What's up? Oh my gosh, how are you? Please send me another email. Thrash is in my DNA, says Mojo, and I always have a soft spot for it, but I get what Sori is saying. I'm sorry, Negative. I'm so sorry. What did you say? Yeah, if you don't like thrash, it's not gonna land real well because this is pretty emblematic of that style. Yep. 1986 it came out. Wow, okay. Okay, are pistachios really a fruit and not a nut? I'm not sure about that. So I'm gonna pull up the live stream here so I can chit chat with you guys. Hey, let's just do an Ask Me Anything while we wait for Vinny to come back. River says, don't look down on the supposedly lower people working for you. I'm fine with the title of cashier. I don't take any offense to my job. I do hate when people use the idea that they're better than me because of my menial job. Right, River, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're like, it depends. You have to look in your own heart, and you know in your own heart how you're looking at the person. If you're like, if you're just using it as a descriptor, they're a cashier, they are definitively a cashier, fine. But I know that what I was doing unintentionally was I was stripping them of their humanity and making them like almost like a human robot. So then I could just go about my way instead of recognizing that, like remembering I used to be a cashier and my legs would get tired and I was in my early 20s. So these people have been working all day. This person's older than I am now. Like they're probably tired. They're probably sick of their job and they may not have other options beyond this. They are probably going to be working at Walmart for the rest of their lives maybe. So like recognizing like these are human beings that have to do these jobs day in, day out, and giving them the kind of love and respect that we want in our jobs. Nobody wants to, I don't want to be yelled at. Like, you know, I've gotten a tiny handful of yelling emails and I don't like it when I get them. Never mind if I had a cashier job and people were like yelling straight into my face. I wouldn't like that, you know? Well, yeah.
It'd be a mistake if somebody did that with you.
Yeah, so.
That'd be an error. All right.
That would be an error on their part. Okay. We're up. Next is a song by the big homie Revo.
Revo did the song?
Well, he didn't do it. He chose it.
Where is the...
Pierce the Veil.
The,
What are you looking for?
The light switcher thing.
You know, babe, I believe...
Try this again.
Back at it. So we didn't hear any of that?
Nope.
All right, so this song is for the big homie Revo, who has picked it. Pierce the Veil, Past the Nirvana. This is your first reaction to Pierce the Veil. They first started releasing music in 2017 and broke out in 2012. In 2017, their drummer got accused on Twitter of a decade before, at the age of 24, of having sex with a 16-year-old, and he left the band shortly after. Yikes. This song was released August 31 of 2022 by Fearless Records, which is distributed Universal Music, and is the lead single off their The Jaws of Life album, released on February of 2023. It is produced by the lead singer of the band, Mute Math, Paul Meany. The lead singer says this song is an anthem for young people about the hardships young people face. COVID, no proms, no graduation, an insurrection, school shootings.
Jeez.
The list goes on. Their lives have been tossed around like clothes in a dryer as the tensions within our country have infiltrated our own homes, friends, and families. To me, the song represents a euphoric detachment from all of that anxiety and stress. Good. I'm with it.
It should be interesting.
Yeah.
Should be very interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to play the official over here. Vinny's going to play the version over there for you guys.
Okay. This is Pierce the Veil.
Mm-hmm.
Past or Nirvana. Do you have those lyrics for me in the thing?
Oh, I'm sorry. I will definitely send them to you. Right now.
All right, guys. Here we go. Pierce the Veil, Past or Nirvana. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You still.
I wish you guys could have seen the video.
Yeah.
But it was definitely like
interesting, considering what was said before.
What do you mean?
Well, I just thought it was weird that, like, I mean, those girls in the video looked a lot younger than the guys in the video. I mean, when they were in the car, when they were doing chicken, the blonde girl that was beside him and the driver, like, he looked like he was closer to our age, and she looked like she was closer to our kids' age. So I just thought it was weird, considering that there was that 24-year-old, 16-year-old thing. And to me, the gap in the video looked bigger than the gap on the Twitter breakdown.
Yeah.
But he left, so I just thought it was weird that because the video got sexual in nature between the two of them. I just thought it was weird to do that when you already were in the news for that, and then you put out a music video that looks like.
Yeah, but that happened like how long ago? How long ago did the drummer?
2017, he got accused of something that happened 10 years before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of weird, but...
So, I don't know if it's like, maybe it's them saying like, is this really... But I mean, I think that the gap in the video, like I said, was bigger than what 16 and 24. Although if a 24-year-old came around my 16-year-old, that'd be a problem.
Yeah, I just think that they were trying to show, like, kids being aimless. You haven't sent me the lyrics yet, have you?
Yeah, I did.
I think they were trying to show kids being aimless, directionless. You know, they're doing like the Fast and Furious stuff but the car is like a 1985.
That's what I thought that was interesting too.
Chrysler type thing, like, you know what I'm saying? It just looked like maybe Lord of the Flies ish, like a bunch of lost kids not knowing where they're going, what they're doing, type of thing.
And some like just like you shouldn't lick a flame.
But that's the crazy shit when you do with your kid. You're trying to have fun.
Yep.
Oh, we got blocked. This thing got blocked. Holy shit.
Why? You didn't even pay it.
This is
you didn't even play it.
Our night. This is just hit the live thing right there. You had it right there. See where it says live right there. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I gotta message these people. Tell them to stay tuned. God, this is just not our night.
Okay, I think we're back.
All right, guys. I think we're back. We should be back. Hell, we should have done the official video then if they're going to do that to us.
I know.
Okay.
I don't even know what I'm going to edit that to make it so people can watch it if they won't even let us watch a lyric video.
I don't know. I mean, was your video... You were playing it on the side, but it was muted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. What's up, Kai?
Well, I mean, I thought it was... Yeah, I'm muted right now. So, yeah, it was muted.
Guess that's what happens when you pierce the corporate veil. Yeah. So...
that's it. We're just going to have to go back to that other song and play it again. What's that guy? He's going down to California.
Going down to California.
We're going to Hollywood Boulevard.
Work. Sink until you're unimpaired. Slow motion like a rolling eye. We can't hear you loud and clear. Suicide season is upon us and high. Why you always saying let the good times roll? Kick your mind open like a punk rock show. Uppercut bleeding from the soft fit nose. If you didn't come home injured, would you say it was a good show?
I would.
What's up, Ian Kirby? Ian Kirby in the house. Gang.
Hey, what's up? I could see you saying something like that.
I was with a girl that was like that. Like, we went to the show in New York, and you know, Newfound Glory was there, Cold was there. It was $1. It was called the Lodo Show in New York. K-Rock, shout out to K-Rock, and yeah. So, you know, we're there, whatever. She comes with this bloody lip. I'm like, yo, who put their hands on you? What the fuck? She's like, no, man, we're just moshing, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yo, who? You know, I'm in my ignorant stage at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, who put their hands on you? She wouldn't tell me. There was some dude acting all dumb in the mosh pit, so I went after him or whatever. She was like,
you figured it out?
No, it was just, you know how I am. Like, somebody did. You know what I'm saying? But she was walking around as like this big... I finally understood her, like, at the end of the show. It was, like, a little bit different. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the rules are different. It's not... So she was, like, because it was, like, one of the first shows I went to. It was like, listen, this is... Because the first show I ever went to was Korn. But Korn was so big. I mean, they were in a giant, some sort of, like, I forgot where they were. Some Pepsi Arena or something like that. So, I was, like, way at the top. So, I didn't understand the whole mosh pit thing. Like... I heard about it, but I just assumed that if it was girls, it would be different. But apparently if the girl goes into the pit and she like is dishing it out, there's always gonna be some dick that goes and takes it like to the next level. I didn't know any of that shit, so I'm like looking around.
Yeah, but a lip like that could happen. Just nobody has to even necessarily be aggressive.
Yeah, but
for that to
hit
happen.
her in the mouth, and you know.
Yeah, but you know, you got your elbows, and she's smaller, so if somebody bumps her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't know the rules. I'm just sitting there like, yo, what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I think that's so funny that she didn't.
But, yeah, she went to.
I see why she made that decision. I just don't know, like.
She's basically saying, like, don't bring your ignorant shit over here. Like, there's a reason that we don't like being around them people, so don't bring that shit over here. But, you know, whatever. But it is true, like, if you don't come home injured, it's not really a good show. Because every single fucking day, try to roll my eyes and breathe, one hit now. I don't know, man.
Wow.
You know, it's very in vogue to diss millennials, diss these young kids, you know, like blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I don't know how these people, these millennials, and these Gen Zers, I don't know how they're making it. I mean, because one of the major issues is when we were teenagers, like adults were adults. Like we did the dumb shit, we did the crazy shit, and the adults were kind of like this stabilizing force in your life.
Man.
And we didn't like them. We thought they were boring.
Yeah. But
you and your rules, blah, 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 blah. But now, you got the President of the United States getting into Twitter wars like a high schooler. I'm talking about like during the Trump era. Like everybody went crazy during the Trump era. And like unfortunately, that's when COVID hit. And then everything got politicized. Mm-hmm. And like, so like, it a lot of it got lost in the shuffle. People were like, you know, what are our children going to think, you know, when they're talking about Trump? Mm-hmm. And like 90% of it was this political bullshit. They didn't care what our children thought, because if they did, they wouldn't have imposed all that Russiagate bullshit on us and all the rest of it. But it's still true. Mm-hmm. Like, Trump did have a destabilizing effect in the sense of like, it really put us in a situation where like there's no adults anymore. Like there's
there was a certain way that people that leadership there's like a certain way that leadership is supposed to act that kind of, and whether or not the leadership is right or wrong, like just having like, because I think some of the decisions that the leadership made when I was growing up or whatever made bad decisions, but you knew that they were going to stick with the same decision and they were going to be stable about it. So you at least
had some adult reason for the decision.
Be it right or wrong, they did have some reason and they were going with it. You know what I mean? Like, but now, like, shoot, you can open it up if you want to, but that video that you were watching before this stream started with that mother and the conversation with her kid, and the kid's all fucking confused.
Which mom? Oh, yeah.
Like introducing
I agree.
chaos and confusion to kids at a young age before they're even old enough to make a decision. Because the thing is, like, I'll tell you something. Kids are heavily influenced by whoever's around them. So I could influence my kids on a lot of different things. I could make them say or make them believe something just by you know, essentially brainwashing. That's what you can do. Like kids will go with the party line. If you create an environment where the kid can ask questions and they can think for themselves, like that's what you want. But like, but that's what they need to be able to trust, that you're going to give them the truth, as close to the truth as you know it. And this mom is not giving this child truth, and the child is very confused at a very young age. Like
the kids have to, like, and that's one of the mistakes that a lot of these, and they're coming from our generation. Is like you've got these 30-somethings that don't have any children, but have all these theories on what's good for children. And
get out of here.
So like what happens is like the boring stability that we had growing up from adults. Like you were gonna get that to them. You were gonna get the same line from adults about everything. Alcohol, drugs, sex, all they were gonna tell you all the same line. And everybody knew like they have to say that to you because they're an adult. Those lines are gone.
Yeah, it's true.
There's no lines. There's no guidance for young. It's every man for themselves.
Yep.
There's all these little sub-tribes. The teachers are just as much a part of a political sub-tribe as the kids are, and they're all choosing sides, and you know they're all with each other, and that's it. And and then the whole COVID situation happened, and then some adults were pro-mask, some weren't, and then you had to go out of your way to make everybody that didn't go along with the national orthodoxy, you had to go out of your way to make them look bad, demonize them, whole 9 yards. It's just it's a mess.
It's a madness. And I had a friend growing up.
It's really unfair to these kids.
Yeah, it really is. You aren't giving them something that, like, that's the thing. You have to give your kid principles. I was thinking about, like, some of the movies or the shows that kids watch, and I was thinking, you know what? I need to be very aware of what story is being told in whatever show that they're watching.
True.
Because I was heavily influenced by, I didn't even watch Beauty and the Beast. We weren't even allowed to watch that because it was Disney. But I still knew the story of Beauty and the Beast. And like that story,
that's so crazy to me.
I know, because the magic, was the big deal. That's what the church is making a big deal about, was the magic. But what should have been made a big deal was the fact that this girl got in it. She was essentially sold herself into slavery to free her dad, and then she through her softening ways softens the beast side of this being, and makes him back into a prince, and they live happily ever after. That's a really fucking bad message to give girls. Like, he's gonna be abusive, but you keep with your softening ways and he's gonna change for you. Like, how many times has that landed in disaster? And I'm like, okay, so you teach kids stories and they pull principles from those stories.
That's why when we went to watch Beauty and the Beast, I had Zoe posted up right next to me the entire time.
Yep. When
that movie was out, because I'm like,
yep.
I'm not gonna not let her watch this classic whatever, but we're gonna talk about
we're
gonna talk about certain principles.
Yep.
When that's happening.
Yep.
Because I want to put a meta narrative over that narrative.
Exactly. But there's just a lot of stories, and like our kids are most children are in school, and they're learning whatever stories the teacher's telling, whatever the stories their friends are telling them. And there's a lot of teachers that are now hiding stuff from parents that is very relevant information that the parents need to know. And I understand that there are some parents out there, they're still the parents and they deserve to know what's going on with their kids. I understand that there are some crazy parents that will make life very difficult, if not, ship their kids out for some of the ways that the kids are. But there are a lot of parents that would come around their kid and would pour the love onto their kid and would want to know what's going on with their kid, but that's being held back from them because some teacher deemed that the child is more theirs than their own parents, which is really freaking crazy. But I think that it's a sad state that there's so much. Like, I had a friend growing up, and her mother was giving her cool advice, not reasonable advice. And I thought that as a teenager, and as an adult now I'm like, it was cool advice. Like, at the time she was like, don't marry somebody that you haven't had sex with, because if they have really bad sex with you, then you may not. I think that's crazy. You love somebody, you deeply love that person, and you want to build a future with that person, but they don't perform sex very well, and so then you're out? Really? So when they get old, they're out. Or if they get cancer, they're out. Or if they get in a car accident, they're out. Like, what kind of messaging is this? Like, sex is, that's an add-on to a marriage. Like, you meet that person, and I told her, I said, I'm pretty sure, and now I was just going off advice that I got from my parents, not anything that I knew experientially. I said, yeah, but for one thing, if you're not having sex with everybody, like, are you really gonna know how bad they really are? Secondly, if you are having sex with this person and, things are not going well, I mean, can't you just both learn together and grow together? Like, why is that a deal breaker? And secondly, I said, look, if you do have sex with them, isn't that going to kind of cloud your idea as to what's going on with the person? Like, maybe you can't see stuff as clearly because, let's say they are really good at it. Maybe you're in the relationship because it's good in that way, but maybe you guys are not compatible in a lot of other areas, but you're not talking about it because every time you get together, you're doing sexual stuff. So I just think it's really sad that the kids nowadays are not getting like some real solid advice that's like, hey, like, this is going to help you, this is not going to help you. Like, this may be not the coolest advice for me to tell you, you really should save sex for marriage. Because there's a lot of things you're going to see.
Out there telling people to...
Yeah, you're telling these kids to
get
smoke.
High. Just get high.
Get high. That's how you should deal with your problems.
What's going on in life. But again, Anna's somebody that doesn't have any kids herself. So she doesn't understand. Like, this is... Like... I salute anything that these kids are doing to survive in this wasteland, man. I fucking salute them. And I just hope that they learn the lessons that from their cool parents, and they're cool teachers, and the next generation of they're gonna make for some very boring adults, because they're gonna want the pendulum's gonna swing the other way, and they're gonna be because this generation has essentially been abandoned by us. I mean, it's different for us because we homeschool our kids, and so we're like right on top of shit with our kids, and so we're building the paradigms for them and stuff. So when all this crazy shit is happening in our culture, we have discussions about it. And we talk about it.
Like up-to-date information, because they can't do up-to-date information in schools because it has to first go through the board, it has to be approved, books have to be reprinted with new information. So a lot of times they're dealing with books that are decades old, and so they can't keep up-to-date information for the kids, which is why they usually had a class that was current events. So it would be a little bit current, but most of the stuff isn't. You know what I was thinking? If you look at like local realism or like the physicalism, and you realize that a lot of what they're teaching in school is just all around the physicalism instead of the principles outside of that, so it makes it that this is all there is and this is what's the most real, instead of something being beyond that, and that once this is over there, you know what I mean? Like I was like, wow, like everything is just all about physicalism mostly in school. Instead of understanding,
But that's one of the main reasons that I don't, I've never considered sending my kids to public school, because this idea that you're just giving them information, but you're not, what they'll say is they'll give them the math, but then they smuggle in their secular worldview. I'm like, no, they have a secular worldview and they're smuggling in math. Like, that you can't, there's no way to educate a person outside of an overarching meta-narrative. It's impossible, because you have all these bits of information, but you have to associate the bits of information with something. And so all of that comes from a certain kind of worldview. So for example, the when you teach children about the Revolutionary War, you were not told, listen, these guys were all slave owners, and the guys that were signing the Declaration of Independence, the majority of them were slave owners, and they were upset because they were getting taxed on their slave labor. So that puts the Revolutionary War in a different context.
Really? That's what it was?
What do you think the Boston Tea Party was about?
Yeah. I know what the Boston Tea Party was.
The taxation was the final point.
But I thought you just said that they were getting taxed on their slaves, and they had a problem with that. Did I just miss you?
The labor of their slaves, yeah, because they're harvesting tea and cotton and all the rest of it, and the British are imposing tariffs, so they didn't work for that.
Unbelievable.
So that changes the mind. But how is it presented? It was, these people were oppressive. These guys were fighting for freedom.
Yeah, they were heroes.
Fighting for freedom, and then that's what people from America don't understand about the gun culture. That's when you get indoctrinated about the power of guns and how important it is for guns and the Second Amendment and things like that. So all curricula is within an overarching context of a certain type of worldview, which is why to this moment, Germany, it's illegal to homeschool in Germany. And that started with Hitler, because he had a certain kind of program, and
they make great formula though.
He understood the educational system. He understood that all education is in the context of a larger worldview, and it's impossible to teach anything, math, science, history, anything, without imposing your worldview on people. It's impossible. So that's why I've never considered sending my kids to a public school.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, having black sons, definitely not going to send them to public school, especially in this context. So I'm just saying, like, a lot of kids do not have intentional parents, and so they're in the fucking Wild West right now. They've got to figure shit out for themselves. That's what people don't understand. They're like, you give kids all these options and different things of what to do. They're going to try everything, but they're going to be confused. Like,
that's so sad.
Like kids are getting introduced to complexities that they should not be engaging in.
Yeah.
They should not be making those calls. They should not be making those decisions. It's like, can you imagine if I'm pretty liberal as far as, hey, they're little people, they should be respected. But if Orion said he wanted, a a chocolate sandwich for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can't say, well, I'm going to honor that decision.
Right.
I've got to override that and impose my nutritional worldview onto that kid.
We do it all the time with stuff like that.
Yeah,
of course.
Parents do that shit all the time. But then when it comes to worldview issues, all of a sudden now the kid's supposed to make the decision himself. So it's like, we don't let him make up his own morality. He doesn't get to go to the park and steal little Tommy's G.I. Joe. So I'm going to impose my morality on him in that moment. Yeah, I had a conversation with a anarchist one time, and he was talking about how he doesn't punish his kid and all the rest of this shit.
Okay.
And he lets his kid, and I'm like, yeah, right. Your kid comes home with a G.I. Joe that he didn't buy.
You're gonna let him do that?
You're gonna let him keep that? He's like, well, no. I'm like, okay, well, now you're imposing your non-stealing worldview. And of course, we're supposed to impose our worldview on our kids. What the hell? Like, of course. So, yeah, man. Like, it's a tough situation. So shout out to all the millennial kids, man, and all the Gen Zers. You guys are doing great. Keep it up. Keep it up, guys. Keep it up.
I've had so many kids over the years say, I wish my mom would homeschool me. I wish my parents would homeschool me. A lot of them.
Yeah, and look,
it's hard. It's hard.
Negative vibes. I'm with you. The main thing was the British needed to recoup all the money they spent fighting the French, defending American colonists. I get it. But again, like that context, like for example, like you know that Americans are not really taught anything when you have right wingers, okay? And again, like if you listen to Middle America, it depends on what the issue is. The right winger want to crucify me, left wingers want to crucify me. But you can tell that Americans don't know the basics of their own history just by the way they were reacting to the riots. They'd say things like, you have the right to protest, but you don't have the right to destroy property. That's terrible. That's never acceptable to destroy property. And then they'll go and celebrate John Adams and all these other people.
Exactly.
And the Sons
who destroyed stuff over money.
The Sons
like
of
this
Liberty,
is people's families.
The Sons of Liberty, they
people.
literally like destroyed and they extorted people. They destroyed property. John Adams, pretty much all the signatories of the Declaration of Independence, the major players that you would recognize today, were part of the Sons of Liberty, who absolutely carried out physical terrorist acts against people who disagreed with them politically about supporting Britain. That's a fact. Okay, so now you have these uprisings that happen in 2020, and now you have people who are so divorced from their American history. They'll say things. They'll go on TV and say things like, "This is never justified. This is not American. This is not what protest is about." Blah 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 blah. Not realizing that's literally how the country was birthed.
And that's still happening for other reasons. People will dox people and get people. You're putting somebody to get killed because it's different than your agenda.
When their forefathers did it, there was a meta-narrative on top of just that they did that. The narrative was that the British were horrible terrorists, so it was justified. So in their minds, all the terrorist actions of their forefathers were justified, and then the slavery and the indigenous people stuff, nobody's perfect, and we'll just skip over that because it wasn't emphasized as really criminal in there, and a lot of these folks don't know how they're to this day still benefiting from the atrocities of the past. So, that's in the past. So,
I know.
My point in saying that is it's just one example. It happens on the left all the time too.
That's what I'm saying. That's why people, if they didn't go along with them, they doxed people, correct. And people could get killed.
Well, I hear in the abortion discussion, I'll get a very intrepid, brilliant leftist. Like I said, I'm gonna piss everybody off with this review. They'll say things like, "Look, Vin, it's a human being, but it's not a human person," and they really feel that they've got some elegant solution to say, well, we can kill the human until it becomes a person. When it becomes a person, that's when it's really valuable. And they really think that I've come up with some elegant solution, not realizing that is literally the exact argument that was used during the antebellum slave trade. Yep. That's literally the argument. So I'll quote people, and they're like, yeah, this is a racist fucking slave owner who was saying that yeah, that's a human being, but it's not a human person. Same argument. But again, they don't have that context because they were not taught the justifications for slavery. Mm-hmm. All they were taught was our grandparents had a hiccup, they lost their minds, they participated in the slave trade, but we freed them. It's all. They're not taught What were the philosophical conversations at the time?
Exactly.
What was happening in the debates? What were people saying about this? What were people using to justify it? What phrases were they using? So, for example, don't want a slave, don't get one. Sounds very, very familiar to don't want an abortion, don't get one. Mind your own business. This was what John Brown heard all the time. Mr. Brown, mind your own business. You can't impose your abolitionist, no slave morality onto all these other people. So if we actually knew history and we understand the context of history, but again, I'm teaching my kids that stuff in the context of a meta-narrative.
Yes, we are.
I'm saying this is a language that was used to dehumanize us. So anytime you hear a person make a distinction between human being and human person, you know they're trying. You know they're trying to justify some sort of fucking atrocity. You can know immediately they're wrong. Like, so that's what I'm saying. It's like it's impossible to teach kids history and science and fact without an overarching worldview. So I did not agree with the public school system. I never agreed with it, but at least there was sort of again, the teacher was an adult.
Exactly.
The teacher was an adult, and you were a student, and you were a crazy student flapping all over the place, but the adults were, and they all had the same line for everything. Don't have sex, don't do drugs, don't do whatever. And if you're going to have sex, well, here's a condom, blah, 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 blah. Like, they all had the same, like, all of us understood kids are off limits. And if you had crazy shit happening, like, outside of school, like, that was your fucking life outside of school. Like, you were not going to share that shit with your fucking students.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you were not going to come in there and bring in your outside life into the classroom. Like, that shit was not going to happen because you were an adult. Kids don't have that anymore. It's wrong. It's wrong, and it's incredibly selfish, and it's a result of people being raised, oddly enough, by baby boomers who just completely spoiled them because they were, you were raised in an area that didn't have a major recession or a major world war, so you were spoiled, especially during the Clinton period when we had a surplus. I'm sorry, but it was right. I mean, Clinton got us a surplus. I'm sorry, he did. So you were raised in the Starbucks generation where you were spoiled and people had all these new ideas and participation trophies, and now you become a parent and you're a fucking worthless disaster. There we go.
I think that part of what happens too is that because the era before the boomers was the Depression, the Great Depression, to my understanding. Do I have my timeline?
Yeah.
So their parents, so like my parents' were raised, they were living the Great Depression. Life was very difficult. There was a lot of struggle, and you didn't have a lot of stuff. And a lot of that generation had big families as well. So what you had got spread out between 7 kids.
Yep.
There was a lot of stuff that you didn't have. So when they grew up and had kids, then all the things that they wanted as a child, they want to give it to their kids so they can kind of live vicariously through that situation. And I see it with parents now. I know one person that, I mean, they wanted princess stuff in their room. They wanted, canopy bed and all of that stuff. And their daughter is getting all of that stuff. She's a tomboy. But she wanted it when she was a kid. So now guess what? You're a ballerina. You're a ballerina with a princess bed and all this stuff. But that's because it's what the mother wanted, not necessarily what the kid wants. The kid's a tomboy.
The girl, she wants G.I. Joes.
She wants to be doing jujitsu.
Yeah.
So I just think that it's, that's one thing that as a parent you have to be really careful of, is that you're not trying to fill up your lacks from your childhood with your kids. And so, when we're talking about giving them all this stuff, like good advice maybe, or maybe you didn't, but like these kids now, like they need some solid advice, and they need solid advice that's based on reality, not your feelings. That's the thing. I mean, just because, that mother wanted to have a good relationship with her daughter, which is why she said, have sex with the guy before you marry him. Guess what? She had sex with a lot of people, and her life, it doesn't look good right now. She's struggling. She's really struggling. And the mother,
And people mad at me. The myth of the Clinton surplus lives on. See, I knew they were going to let me give that to Clinton. My point is, when we were kids going to school, the adults were the adults, man. Mm-hmm. Like, kids don't have that anymore, and they're hurting. They're in a lot of pain right now, and they're extremely confused.
Yep.
And all they have is Anna Kasparian telling them to get high, and then your friend's mom telling them to go fuck everybody. Oh my God, we gotta get out of this. Review. Holy shit. Are you gonna adopt all those slaves once freed? Yep, that was another one. Ian. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna let all these Negroes go. You gonna adopt them? Does that sound familiar? Sounds like a familiar argument to me. I like this song. It was very good. I got what they were trying to say. Definitely got the whole vibe of the whole like kids being led astray type of vibe. Yeah. It's a 9.2 for me.
9.4 for me.
All right, dear listener, we are coming right back. Don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We will return to you shortly. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vinand Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Later, Kai. Love you, buddy. We are in the midst of a very interesting collection of Ronin. And they're called the Imperishable Flames, dear listener. Here we go.
Okay, so the Flaming Lips, my Cosmic Autumn Rebellion. The Flaming Lips are an award-winning band who are just as well known for their lush and evocative pop arrangements as they are for their...
You're gonna be very happy.
Fearless experimentalism.
Sonia's here.
Yay! Hi, Sonia!
I told you you're going to be happy.
I was like, we're going to go back to California, and I'm going back for the specific reason of I want to hang out with Sonia.
I know.
Like, I wanted the weather, yay, absolutely. I mean, we're in bitter cold Maine, but, like, I did not get enough time with Sonia. Like, the 3 of us need to chill.
I know.
Okay.
She also has a fucking say in that.
Yeah, I know, but I
she
feel
might
like
say,
no, I don't feel like I'm
needy.
gonna. I don't feel like I'm gonna give you a say, Sonia. I'm gonna show up on your front steps. Do
Yeah.
we know where she lives?
I'm
here.
I can find that.
No, she's gonna want to. She was Zonia when I was there. Like I had like a lot of anxiety because we were in a new area. We were like all you guys were our friends, but you were still new to us because we were meeting you guys face to face. Like my anxiety was like fucking up on 10. I'm sure you guys probably couldn't see it because I usually try to hide it. But like I was very, 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 very nervous. And then plus it was the day we were getting married but you and I sat like on the chairs together and I was talking with you and like my anxiety level was like and I was just enjoying my time with you. Anyway, alright. The Flaming Lips are an award-winning band. We already read this.
You were miserable for the rest of the day when we left.
I was pretty sad.
Yeah, you were absolutely...
I was.
Like,
I know we
great.
say it every
Happy
time, but like
bitch.
it literally
Happy
still makes me sad. Anyway.
Happy anniversary. Ridiculous.
The Flaming Lips are an award-winning band who are just as well known for their lush, evocative pop arrangements as they are for their fearless experimentalism. They once released an album that came on 4 separate CDs. What? Intended to be played in any combination simultaneously. Interesting. Huh. Not long after that, however, they put out their most successful recordings, The Soft Bulletin and Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots, which are complete with thought-provoking lyrics, catchy, uplifting pop hooks, and intricately woven synthesizers. Frontman Wayne Coynes, I don't know, once said, if someone was to ask me what instrument do I play, I would say the recording studio. In their 40 years of activity, the Flaming Lips have continually reinvented themselves and have collaborated with countless other artists. Good for them. This song I submitted on a bit of a whim. It's not my favorite, but I felt like sharing the lyrics. Cannot find a clean link for this one. All the links that look good to get corrupted when I copy and paste. Something new to me, which sets off my spidey sense, and I think that these are notes for us. Okay. No, maybe it's not. But if you go into YouTube, okay. Also, there are full albums with the song which are broken down. You have it though. What we need? Okay. Very cool song, by the way. Tell us autumn's a comin' and soon. Oh, now that's the lyrics.
Don't forget to send me those.
I'm doing that right now.
Thanks, beautiful. All right, here we go, guys. Flaming Lips is the name of the band. The name of the song is, what is it? My Autumn.
I don't remember.
My Cosmic Autumn Rebellion, dear listener.
I knew it was going to be better than what I was going to remember.
Rebellion. Here we go.
Why do I like this? Oh, this is for the big homie Matt.
What?
I just want to double check because they changed the link for song 5, and I think this is song 5, and I'm not sure if you got the updated link because I updated it after the stream started.
I don't understand what you're saying.
He changed the link for I think this one, and he wanted a different link used. So, and I saw him saying, "Did you get the link?" So I just want to make sure that we have the right one. Matt, is this the right song or middle? Is this the right one?
Okay, so he emailed you a link?
Yes, but the stream had already started when I saw it, so I updated it.
That would have been good to know before we played the song, Missy. Yeah, that's the same one I have.
Hold on. Okay, I don't...
It's the same one.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was the email, though.
I guarantee you it's the same one.
Okay.
See, Matt S. is there. He says
and he
it
said
is.
It's good? Okay,
I picked
thank
this
you.
one before you guys sent the email. Okay, now we're back. Can we do
sorry.
it now?
Yeah, I guess we could start. I'll let it start. Go ahead.
Flaming Lips, My Autumn Rebellion, I think it's called. My Cosmic Autumn Rebellion. All right, here we go.
Autumn's coming, and soon everything around us will die. Only a fool believes that he is different from the birds in the sky. All those birds go chasing some better sunny days. You can't hear them singing, 'cause they've all gone away. But this one bird didn't leave you. It stayed through the winter time. You can't hear it sing.
Wait, did it suspend the broadcast already? If it suspended it and we keep playing, they're going to give us a copyright strike.
They suspended it?
Did it get suspended?
This is a fan-made video.
I'm looking at the comment section and it looks like it got suspended. So if it got suspended, we
Content
keep playing,
ID.
It's gonna get blocked.
Yeah, I see the comments coming through. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So
Maybe they just play it through the speaker with no overlay. Oh, right there.
That's
Look.
not gonna work. Yeah, see?
Shoot. Fuck.
Refresh it.
So how are you, what's your go around?
There's no go around.
Oh.
I mean,
damn.
like right now.
Because that's not even official video, right?
Yeah, and it got suspended again, so that's gonna get us.
Okay, so the only thing that we could do is tell everybody to play it at home, and we listen to it on my computer. So it's gonna be quiet. So we're basically gonna put it muted. That's the only thing I can think of right now. Because we would be listening to it. They can watch the reaction. They can play it at the same start we have, so everybody can kind of be on the same page.
We can't do this song.
It would be silent, is what I was saying. All right, so let's.
We just
What do
refresh.
you want to do?
Wait till we get back.
I warned them. What song is this that keeps getting them whacked? It's another one.
Flaming Lips, unfortunately.
Yeah, Revo, Flaming Lips song. Mm-hmm.
Refresh again.
Oh shit.
No, it's fine.
Come on, Flaming Lips are like a hippie band, Revo said.
It's the label. The greedy motherfuckers.
I know. Oh, that sucks. They need to tell their copyright owners
They
to
caught
chill
that one
out.
immediately too.
Yeah.
That one got caught immediately.
I don't understand
Usually
this.
we can play the whole song.
Yeah, or at least a good portion of it. I was really enjoying it too. Were you?
Well, I was just
I was really vibing with it.
I was just getting into it, but yeah, you're gonna have to keep doing that until we get
There
back.
it is. We're back.
So we're back. Okay, guys. Well,
Middle.
as Middle Earth warned us that one wasn't going to work.
Yep, but we stupidly went on our own way.
Well, look, you guys, it takes a lot.
We're risk takers.
We're risk takers. It takes a lot for us to not do something because you know we've been blocked innumerable times. We've been whatever innumerable times, but that is some aggressive that's the most aggressive I've seen because we didn't get through 30 seconds of the song. Usually there's like a 9-second thing where if you can get it in within 9 seconds, you should be okay.
Yeah. Can you pause it? And let me just say one thing. Pause it so they can't hear us.
Oh, okay. You mean mute it?
Sure.
So that they can't hear? Okay, so Matt, here's the deal. Here's the deal, bro. We're gonna play Peacemaker Die next because that's the next song in the progression, and inshallah that'll give you about 20 minutes to come up with a song that you want played tonight, or you can take a golden ticket for the next stream or whatever. It's completely up to you. Very sorry that happened. You guys know we try our best to play the songs all the way through. That song had some particular aggressive copyright protection.
It came so fast.
Maybe I could shoot it up to Amy. She might be able to
do something.
Yeah, because she knows how to do shit like that. If that's a song you really want to hear, I've got somebody that kind of plays around with stuff. But anyway, really sorry about that, Matty S. But come up with another song. Okay, guys. Having said that. If you play it backwards, it's the new Batushka record. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go on to Extreme Peacemaker Die.
We're gonna go to Peacemaker Die. And Matt, no rush, no rush. You don't have to do it tonight. You can't do it tonight. You don't have to do it tonight. I know everybody knows that you've got a golden ticket because the band screwed us. Okay, so and don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about that selection either, Matt. I know sometimes when we get copyright hits, people feel bad about it. We're adults. We make the decision to play the songs all the way through. Whatever happens, the decisions that we made. We want to come through for you guys because you guys, you know, I mean, this shit is not cheap, and so it's important us to come through for you guys, start to finish. And so those are decisions that we made. So don't feel bad about freezing the thing or hurting the channel. The channel is completely fine. We didn't even get a copyright strike. We just got the stream suspended, which happens every other stream. Okay, so everybody calm down. We're in good shape. Okay. Or as BC says, blah 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 blah. You blah.
You blah.
All right, here we go, guys. Peacemaker Die is the name of this record. We figured,
Mojo picked this song.
We figured we'd spare you from the commercial because of the situation. Mojo picked the song. Let's go.
And this is what he has to say. Unless they were included in a live stream that never got broken out, I don't think you ever listened to Extreme.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think you've ever listened to Extreme, which I find really surprising. Extreme are a hard rock band from Boston. Oh.
Wait, the name of the band is Extreme?
Uh-huh. Formed in the mid to late 80s, the band set themselves apart from other hard rock bands by infusing funk grooves into their songs, which really hadn't become a mainstream thing yet. Their first two albums were very successful. They had two huge radio hits in the early 90s, giving them crossover appeal, and turned them into pop superstars for a couple of years at the expense of their hard rock image. Peacemaker Die is a song off their third album, 3 Sides to Every Story. This album was a departure from the previous two, which consisted mainly of songs about partying and having a good time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, and it's not to say the songs were not good. They most certainly were. But they turned a corner on their third album. This third album was a concept album released in 1992. The album is comprised of 3 parts titled Sides, Side 1, Yours, Side 2, Mine, Side 3, and The Truth. Ooh. Side 1 is a collection of songs providing observational commentary on the state of world affairs and politics. The songs on Side 2 and 3 are more introspective and spiritual in nature. This album was a commercial failure compared to the success of their first 2 albums, but is probably their best work.
Nick says he wants some Brussels sprouts.
They're tiny potatoes. Okay.
They're so good.
This album...
I would never eat innocent Brussels sprouts. I don't believe in eating innocent vegetables.
All right, so let's listen to this one. Extreme Peacemaker Die. Yikes, okay. And I'll send you these lyrics, okay?
Have we reacted to Hi Ren yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have.
Oh, shoot.
Peacemaker Die. All right, guys, here we go. Peacemaker Die for Mojo. Let's go.
Think the world can be black, white, and teal.
Can be black, white, and Jew. He said, do you think the world can be black, white, and Jew?
Yeah, he did say that.
Bless it all.
All the same band?
Now we're down to my song, Middle Earth says. Look, babe, that's what he said. Now it's down to my song. It's like the this is crazy. They're just pecking them off. Boo, 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 boo.
Wow, that's deep.
They're getting all of them.
This is deep.
You know what I need to do? I was poking around in YouTube and I figured out a way to find out which labels they are. So then I'll try to email them and maybe we can.
They'll tell you on the copyright strike. It'll say.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't want to have to go in the email. This was a really quick way of seeing which ones are like repeat offenders because it's a big list.
Email?
Yeah, because it's a big list of all the songs down there, so you can see all of them.
Refresh that thing.
Oh my gosh, Andrew.
That's pretty terrible. Boy, this night shows some real commitment on our part, huh? God almighty, it's just problem after problem after problem.
Caligula. What label was this on?
It should be right here.
I'm about to show you. It was really crazy.
Is it back yet?
No. Well, I just... No.
You worked on this copyright shit. There it is. Your stream was interrupted. Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Really?
We should be back by now. Are we back yet, guys? You refresh it?
No, still out. Right here, babe. See? Wait, whoops. That's the wrong kind of copyright. Hold on. Forget that.
Are we back yet? Let's go back and refresh it.
I'll tell them. Can they hear us? Oh, no. We're back. We're back.
Okay. All right. Well, it looks like
I love that song.
That's a pretty rare occasion. We generally don't.
How close to the end of the song were we?
That was halfway through the song.
Shoot.
Like we generally don't have it this intense, crazy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with another song though, because we've done multiple songs today that didn't get stopped. So.
So let's dive in again.
So we're gonna dive in again. You guys know how we get down.
We're down to middle.
We're gonna keep plugging away. We're gonna keep plugging away until look at that, another one came.
Maybe it's because we announced our business on this channel.
No, I don't think it has anything to do with that. That has nothing to do with it.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that be crazy if they were like, you can't make more money on the side? Okay, all right. So the Vision.
I don't know about on the side. We had a pretty good day yesterday.
No, I mean on the side of them without giving them a cut of it. That's what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
The Vision Bleak. Hey, how would you say this?
Valkyrie.
Okay. Let's see. Did Middle say anything? The Vision Bleak was formed in 2000. This song is from their 2013 album, The Witching Hour. The genre is gothic horror metal. Okay. Gothic horror metal. Prepare yourself.
All right. Prepare yourself, bitches. Gothic horror metal. Horror metal is on the way. I don't know, between Revo and Middle America. Middle Earth and Revo, please make sure that Matt and I think it was Mojo, that they get picked up in the upcoming streams. We got 2 golden tickets for 2 people. Just want to make sure that gets done.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's make sure that we keep note of that, guys. All right, let's try the Vision Bleak Valkyrie from the Witching Hour. Let's do this shit. Fingers crossed.
The battlefields of violence, bloodshed and death. Crushed bodies and broken shields. Great men take their last breath. The home of God, the Valkyrie, their angel, the savior and guide. The footprints so cold and wintry, armored with desire and demise.
That was, I'm pretty sure we were able to get through all of that.
Yeah, Vision Bleak, the Valkyrie.
We get through all of that without getting canceled by YouTube. Dear listener, we had a little bit of an issue, but it's all good. It's all good.
We're doing what we can. This song was chosen by Middle Earth, and
okay, so this song, I feel terrible saying this. This song is the song of the night for me. The reason I feel terrible saying it was because those two other songs seemed really, really promising.
I know.
So I feel like...
Especially the one right before this one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we got... So it's like... But at the same time, I objectively enjoyed this song the most out of all the songs I enjoyed today.
I did. I did
so
as well.
I don't know. Like, it probably would have still won Song of the Night for me, probably. But there's always going to be that asterisk, damn it. Because of you, greedy capitalist!
Well, you know what
Shout out to Middle Earth, by the way.
We should create a playlist.
Thank you for the review, my brother. I appreciate it.
We should create a playlist for us of all the ones we've given 10s to. Like when we both given a 10 to a song. Like we both enjoyed this song. Like imagine driving down the road and listening to this one. That's
true. That's very, very true. I agree with that one. Then we'd have a good... That's like the time we listened to, was it Machine Head? It's a Machine Head song that...
oh yeah, that time I was like, I'm listening to this on repeat.
I'm listening to this on repeat,
If you want to drive with me, you can, but I don't want to hear any complaining about it.
Yeah. She fell in love with Machine Head.
Repeat. It was really good. Whew, but this song was amazing. I mean, it was hypnotic.
It was, especially... I think
over the mountains.
Somebody said, like, well, can you check just to make sure that we're still there? So, somebody said something about like wall of sound. Like, I remember when the Fifth Corn record came out, they had done something with like production or something like that, some new thing that nobody ever done before, and it was like, oh, it's a wall of sound or whatever. But then when I like plugged it in with the headphones or whatever, I had never heard anything like that. It was just like,
okay,
like,
yeah.
And like a lot of bands try to do it, especially like when you hear it live. Like if they don't have a very good like sound engineer, it just sounds like trash.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very hard. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a sound technician, but like
there's a lot of buttons. It looks like it's very difficult.
Well, we've been back there.
Yeah.
And it's like a spaceship or something.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, like, how...
And that's, like, just the travel kit. Like, can you imagine what it's like when you're at the studio?
And I don't know how, like, you know, how long you have to be around to make that sound good live.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it doesn't sound very good live.
The amount of people that there are in the room would change the sound of it. Because it's more things to dull the sound. Like, if you have an empty room... One sound, what it sounds like, and what it sounds like in a full room, like that means that the amount of people, the mass that's in the room is going to change. I think it's a science to it. These people got to be really accurate if you want it to sound really good.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Metallica does it really well.
Yeah, you get.
I think you. That's one thing I got to do is take you to a Metallica show. You've never seen Metallica live.
No.
I saw Metallica with Slayer live. Metallica live is unbelievable. It's incredible.
It's like getting me excited just thinking about it.
It's unbelievable. And the energy like of the show and the guys step on the stage, it's like completely otherworldly. But
okay, well we're gonna have to do that.
This song right here, Valkyrie. So I'm assuming there's some like some what do you call it? Viking shit, right? Because Valkyrie is like,
that's what it sounded like to me
one of the spirits
as well.
of like one of the spirits in the Viking religion. I think I'm not sure. Culture. Somebody's gonna help me out in the comment section. I'm looking.
It's interesting though because go ahead.
Well, there was a lot of juxtaposition on this song because it was so beautiful, especially like toward the end. At the very, very end is really like pushed it over the top.
Unbelievable.
When he was harmonized, so you had that like wall of sound, but then but it was a simple harmonization.
It's stuff you do stuff like this.
Out of the darkness, darkness into the light, like simple stuff like that. But he's got it layered vocally and it's layered instrumentally,
and it just
really, really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
But it was simple. All he was saying was out of the darkness into the light. But he just had a really, really good instinct where he understood like the music was the star of the show, And like this particular part just needs some seasoning.
Yeah.
Right? Like
a
you see
little
what
bit
I'm
of
saying?
salt in there, yeah.
Right, like and a lot of times like I don't know, like bands kind of miss the moment sometimes. Like it's we kind of went over it today, like with the whole I forgot the name of the band that we started out with, but they had the one riff, Dark Angel, where they had the one drum pattern that but when Metallica used it, it was clear that Metallica knew where that was supposed to go in the song, or they didn't. This one, like it was perfect placement. He knew exactly where to put it. He
really
didn't overemphasize it, but he didn't underemphasize it. It's very, very hard. And I don't think there's any book on that as to how to do that. I just think that you have it or you don't have it. You see what I'm saying? And like these guys, like they definitely knew exactly where to place it.
I'll tell you, you have it. There's times where you'll be like, do this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, I'm having a real hard time to like make my voice do whatever you have envisioned. But then when I go back and I listen to it, like I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a brilliant idea. So I think you're like that too. Really, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see when our music starts coming out. We'll see if people think that. But you know, when a person has a voice like yours, though, it's very tempting to just do that on every song. Like that's. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Because when your voice like comes in with the music, the minor key stuff, it just so you just do an entire record like that, but all the songs sound the same. But they're all good songs.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The grim madness of the battlefield of violence, bloodshed, and death, crushed bodies and broken shields, brave men take their last breath. Thither was called the Valkyrie, Death Angel, a savior in guise, but grim, so cold and wintry, armored with desired demise. Armored with desired demise.
That was what she was armored with.
That's really
isn't that crazy?
But that's real though.
Oh, I know. And the way that she explained, like when it goes later,
that's mega real though. Like,
I bet. Nobody wants to suffer a
you go into. Well, the first time I learned that lesson was boxing. Was when the guy was like, "You're in a box." I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fight because there was a fight coming up, whatever." And like I was completely untrained, whatever. He's like, "Oh, you're in a box, huh? You're gonna be a good boxer." I'm like, "Yeah, because you know how we are." Yeah. Boom! Got two pieces of me right in the face, hit me in the face.
Wow, really?
I was like, He's like, "You still want to box?" I was like, "Yeah, man." And my stepdad was right there, like looking at the whole week. It's like. He would have never let anybody like really hurt us. Like, he was like, you know, we had our little thing, but he would have never let anybody help. So I'm looking at him. He was like, "Oh, you said you wanted a box." I was like, "Okay, so obviously this is all part of it, so I'm good."
Oh,
so
okay,
but
that's
like,
cute.
but that whole first week, like I every day went home with a headache, Tylenol, all that, but like completely demystified getting hit in the face. Like I was completely. I was completely unafraid of getting hit in the face. I did not care. But, like, that's a big thing for people when they start boxing. Like, that's a big thing is getting hit in the face. People have, like, a real psychological, like, if I get hit in the face. Like, there's a lot of times when, like, the coaches explain to me, like, dudes will drop, and it's not that they're knocked out. It's just the shock of getting hit. Yeah, and you know, this is what you're supposed to do.
I feel like that's kind of what it is.
The worst time I've ever been hit, the worst I've ever felt in an altercation, like the worst pain I've ever felt in an altercation was a body shot. It was not getting hit in the face at all. I didn't care. But a body shot, like, I felt that immediately, and I felt it for days, and it's fucking incapacitating. It's fucking horrible. You can't breathe, all types of shit. You get hit in the face, it's like annoying and stuff, but you can breathe.
Right.
Like, you can't breathe, and if you can't breathe, and anybody knows, like, you can't do shit.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, but the mentality of, like, a person who gets hit in the, who is afraid of the worst case scenario.
Yep.
That guy is not going to be able to perform.
Nope. So,
that's why you have live fire exercises, all types of shit. It's like, one, you're trying to show people what it's like, but the other thing is you're looking for people who are going to freeze up. And a lot of people, like, it's not their fault. A lot of people try to make it like bravery versus cowardice. It's really not. A lot of it's just psychological makeup. Like, some people are made up with a heavy security system, and the security system is just sort of overactive, so that it overwhelms. There's too much data coming in, they get overwhelmed, and they just completely freeze up. It doesn't mean that they're a coward. It just means that that's just how they're psychologically constructed, and it's too much work to overcome that versus just cutting them and replacing them with somebody who doesn't have that malady. It's the same thing with like O2 tolerance. Like, there's certain tolerances that people have that you cannot. You won't even get invited to selection unless you have a certain tolerance. And it has nothing to do. Same thing with like, I look at it like the same thing like you're colorblind or whatever. Like, you can't get. A lot of people don't look at it that way, but that's the way I looked at it. But like, the dude is just like, he can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can't. Like, he's obviously proven himself in other situations, but in those particular situations,
man, that must be so hard for them when they do that. Like, to face yourself after that, because like, the fact that you even got to that point meant that you were a certain type of person.
Right.
And then to see yourself freeze for the exact thing that you, like, that's the main goal of why you're doing what you're doing. So it's like, it would be like Tom Brady right there, boom. I mean, Tom Brady had to fizzle himself out the way he did, like, just getting hit at the top like that and being told you can't, oh man, that'd be tough.
That is the difference between your average fighter in Iraq. Well, let me say it this way. Your average Iraqi national in Iraq versus fighting the Tally in Afghanistan is that line right there, armored with desired demise.
Oh.
Those folks in the Tally genuinely believe that if they died in jihad, first of all, tactically, they were superior to your average Iraqi soldier. Just tactically, those folks understood that the terrain itself was an enemy that we had to overcome, and we didn't do a very good job. And they understood that technology-wise, it doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to come up with you're not going to come up with technology that's going to overcome a mountain. Like, you're not going to. What are you going? You're going to nuke it. You're going to nuke Afghanistan to get 5 people.
You mean to get you over the mountain?
There's so many nuances of warfare and tactics that they understood. But on top of that, they had a controlling mindset that if they died, they would get the high. So they were desiring death. So when one of their folks would die, it was like he achieved shahada. He achieved martyrdom. Like, it is not. We had, we said we got 5K. So like, we had the Marine Corps. It's like, there's kind of like this. Like, look, just you understand you're going to die, and so you consider yourself a dead person. It's just a matter of time. And really, if you get killed, you're not going to know, which is kind of a bullshit thing. Like, if you get hit, you won't know it. So just keep going. You know what I'm saying? Which is untrue. You can get gut shot, fucking writhed and paid for fucking hours until you fucking expire and you bleed in. You bleed internally until
Right. Yeah, I know. That's
so
true.
It's not like that, but that's what they tell you when you're fucking 18 years old and you're full of whatever. That's one level, but the next level is like, no, you want to get shot. Like, that's the difference between the Taliban winning and not. And that's the difference between an Iraqi soldier going, oh, we'll surrender.
Wow.
Like, no disrespect, but,
Wow. That does change things, though.
But that's what I'm saying. So when it says armored with desired demise, like, your mentality is absolutely, your mindset in the midst of those conflicts is absolutely a weapon. Or a liability. It is just as potent, even more potent than an RPG or whatever. People are not looking at it that way in the immediate, but when you're looking at like long drawn out conflicts like what you saw in Afghanistan, like, it is absolutely a weapon, and it's not something you're gonna ever, and which goes to the whole theory that everything is really mental. But you get a good chunk of people with that kind of mentality, bro. It's over with. It's just over with. And like you see the way like he's singing the song, it's like so beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like some of those guys, like when you hear them talk about war, it's beautiful. They talk about it like they're romancing a woman. Like they they live for that shit. They just live for jihad and learning. That's Taliban is actually a compound word. I'm gonna get into it, but yeah, man. And like, so it's just different. It's just it is a form of armament, though. Like, the mentality it's a form of armament, and we have psychological operators. Literally, it's an MOS in the United States Army. Like, you have psychological operations, and we could hold a candle to their because theirs was it was institutional. Mm-hmm. Our psychops were reactionary. We don't have an institutionalized version of because of the secular sort of aspect of America, which most people would say is a positive thing. We don't even have the capability to even begin to understand. It's not even brainwashing. It's something else where they live in a completely different reality than you. Mm-hmm. And so it's the same thing. Like, I'm looking at the lyrics here. It's like, when I look at the Vikings historically, they kind of had, it seemed to be more practical sort of ethics around war and lore around war. Like, if you die in the middle of a battle, then you go to, whatever. And so, Valhalla. And so, like, you create this sort of idea to make it so that people will be brave when they run into battle.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at, like, they were not always brave. A lot of them did surrender at times and things of that nature. Vikings did. Mm-hmm. Whereas Taliban, like hardcore Tally, they're not going to surrender.
Right. Because of the mentality they have.
The mentality is different. Yeah. Like, it's like they truly believe that shit that they're gonna and there's all lore and legends about there's this one guy that said he started smelling perfume and he's like, do you smell that perfume? And everybody's like, what are you talking about? 2 seconds later a mortar takes him out. So the mythology around that guy is that he was smelling Jannah. He was smelling the Horalain, the girls, because the girls have this scent to them as well. He was smelling it beforehand because Allah had made it so that he achieved it, and he's the only one of those 3 guys that died. Now I personally saw that video where they were talking about this dude.
Really?
And when you look at the way that they were talking about this dude, and you see it was like they were jealous of the guy. It was like going to like one of these like pyramid scheme meetings. It's like, this guy did this pyramid scheme and now he's a millionaire and you can too. And if you really apply yourself, you can too. And I'm sitting there watching this shit like, holy shit. And that was the mentality. It was like, hey, you too can get blown to smithereens by it was pretty ugly.
Wow.
It was a pretty ugly after.
Oh my gosh! But they were focused more.
He didn't get hit directly, so it's,
oh god.
But I mean, from what I could tell, the dudes that were there, that were with him, they were saying, yeah, that's what he said. They all had the same story. Like, can you smell that? Blah blah blah. And then boom, he gets hit with this mortar, and then so now you can't convince those people that kid is not in. He's 19. I think he's 19. 19-year-old kid, like, just barely waking up in life, and his life is completely extinguished, but everybody's looking at this dude like they're jealous of him and that he had accomplished a major thing.
My word.
So, I mean, that is absolutely a weapon. Like, that mentality is absolutely a weapon. And there haven't been many. The only thing I could think is close historically that I've seen is maybe the samurai. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Where you have that institutionalized mentality about war and things like that. But that's some different shit. That's some shit that I saw that video and I was like, we're either never getting out of Afghanistan or we're gonna blink.
Because
we're just not constructed that way. We don't believe that.
Right.
We don't believe that, and American parents don't have the stomach for it. Especially, and the other thing is, they were we came into their country and started killing their folks. So even their motivation is so much higher than ours. We have no motivation. Like, what are we over there for? To guard poppy seeds and whatever.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
We were very motivated when we were in Tora Bora looking for Bin Laden, but after year 15, like especially after we kill UBL, like what's the point? Like it's I don't know. I don't know.
It's so funny because you went like real literal. When I was hearing it, I went to like more of like a mythical side. Because like battles are there in mythical stories as well, you know, whatever. So everything's going on. It says how did you pronounce it? Thither was called the Valkyrie, Death Angel, a savior in guise, and then later on it says she elects the ones to elevate from the perished and the slain. So I thought that it was like interesting because usually it's depicted the Death Angel or the Grim Reaper is masculine, and this one was a feminine version, which is what made me think it was more mythical.
I think if you fought with valor, then she'd pick you up. Yeah, but if you were soft, if you were like a coward in battle, then she'd just leave you there on the. I think she decides who goes to Valhalla and who doesn't.
Okay, I thought she was deciding who was going to die because it says she was called, and then when it said armored with desired demise, it was that she was armored with because she was going to kill them, but they wanted obviously to die because when they were in that situation. Plus, like you said, they were going to their better place. And then over here in all the chaos, and so over the mountains, a glorious ride out of the darkest of light. In all the chaos and the earth and weight of torment, torture, and pain, she elects the ones to elevate from the perished and the slain. The ride is wild and ominous. Okay, these two words, what do these words mean?
Imperial and arcane.
Yeah, what do they mean?
It just means that she's glorious, but she's, very old.
Old?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
In her arms, the answers found to all quests profound.
Yeah. So, like I said, I took it more of like in a mythical sense. So
well, the relationship of a warrior with death.
Yeah.
That's always going to be a sort of it's always going to be a sort of dance until the end of time.
Yeah.
That understanding because
right.
Anyway, 9.8 for me. This is song of the night for me.
Oh, 9. This is a 10. This one's a 10. There's no way two ways about it. I really liked this song. There would like sometimes at the beginning of I think it was like in all the chaos in the earth and weight, like when he was doing that part, I was like, do I like the sound of that? But then it just went right back into this amazing. I just really, really enjoyed it, and what he did with the vocals with it. Oh boy, I almost want to back it off a little bit because I did feel like it needed feminine vocals in there, like because I could hear like female vocals in it. That sounded really crazy because like if like a female vocal sounds eerie, it sounds cold.
Agreed.
So if you had some cold sounding female vocals in there, okay, sorry, 9.8. I talked myself out of it. Oh, that must have been so disappointing, middle.
Oh my god.
But at the same time, it really did take me. I'm going to leave it at a 10. Because it's not like, I'm going to leave it at a 10. I'll leave it at a 10. I'll leave it at a 10. Oh, it was good. It was really good. Psych! I'm going to a 9! I'm just kidding. All right, really. It's a 10. What did you give it?
I give it a 9.8.
9.8. Okay, and you've got the next one, the replacement song.
Yes. We have
right back
a
with
replacement song that we're going to do. I know it's 2:00, guys, but you guys know how it is. The show must go on. So we shall return very shortly with one more song for you beautiful people. And hopefully that song doesn't get blocked either.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. It'd be crazy.
We shall return. I'm Ben.
I'm Sori.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vinand Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch. All right, we have a replacement song.
Yes, dear listener. You know how the bands go off like, they're like, come back, encore.
Here we are.
To your point, I don't know why they do that anymore. Nobody's falling for it. Everybody knows that you guys are going to come back. But you guys didn't know we were going to come back.
Right. But here we are. I just sent you the lyrics.
Yes. Okay.
And we came back for a replacement song for Matt.
All right.
He says this song was... Oh, wait. What's the name of the song?
It's Cowboy Bebop, Gotta Knock a Little Harder.
This song was written for the movie Cowboy Bebop. Gotta knock a little harder. Cowboy Bebop was a seminal anime show from the early 2000s about bounty hunters in space. In the show, several of the characters are trapped by their pasts and unable to move forward. The show is inspired by jazz and blues music, is often bittersweet, and if nothing else, is known for its stellar, no pun intended, soundtrack. All right, let's check it out.
All right, guys, here we go. This is Cowboy Bebop, based on an anime. We got a lot of anime heads in the house.
Yeah.
All right, guys, here we go. Revo is right on. We keep on knocking. Will anyone ever open the door? Maybe that's lyrics.
To me, and it might have meant a thing or two if I'd known the difference. Emptiness, a lonely parody, and my life another smoking gun, a sign of my indifference. Always keeping safe inside when no one ever had a chance to penetrate or break in. Let me tell you, some have tried, but I slammed the door so tight that they could never get in.
That's interesting.
Kept my cool and the lock and key, and I never shed a tear, and now the sign of my condition. The fear of love or bitter vanity, it kept me on the run, the main events of my confession. Kept a chain upon my door that would shake the shame of gain into a blind submission. The burning ghost without a name was still calling all the same, but I just wouldn't listen. The longer I stole, the further I crawl, the further I crawl, the harder I fall while scrolling into the fire. The more that I saw, the further I'd fall, the further I'd fall, the lower I'd go. I kept falling into the fire. I go the distance. I face the door and all my shame, tearing off each piece of cake until they were broken. But no matter how I tried, the other side was locked so tight, the door wouldn't open.
A relationship song.
That's interesting.
What did you think? I shouldn't have said anything. What did you think it was?
I actually thought that it was a song about how she relates, well, somewhat relationally, but how she relates to herself based on her life and like what type of person it's made her.
Okay. From where? Where'd you get that from?
Happiness is just a word to me. It might have meant a thing or two if I'd have known the difference. Emptiness, a lonely parody, and my life another smoking gun, a sign of my indifference. I was going to let you interpret those first two, because I actually kind of started always keeping safe inside that part, starting over there. So what in these, what do you want to just start with the first one, or do you want to just explain those first two before I go into the other one? Because maybe it'll change
how did you interpret that?
Well, I was just listening. I wasn't interpreting that beginning part. I was just listening because the song had just come to me and I was catching her voice and stuff.
I see.
So when she said always keeping it safe inside where no one ever had a chance to penetrate and break in, that to me was she was kind of setting up what was coming next based on what happened in her past. And she's saying that she's putting up walls to protect herself. And when she says that, she says she's doing it so that way no one can penetrate and break in. And I think that line kind of tells you why she was building walls.
Right.
Because I think that something obviously had happened in the past sexually to her that made her scared.
And why are you saying sexually?
Because she used the word penetrate. And so I just thought maybe that was like, and I know that that's a story for a lot of women, that once that happens, that becomes their point where they then have to protect themselves. Okay. So she, I think she threw that in there as like a clue, because she kind of like doesn't say stuff directly throughout the song. So then she says, "Let me tell you, some have tried, but I'd slam the door so tight they would never get in." So it seems like, people wanted to have relationships with her, but she couldn't really get into those relationships because of the walls that she was building up to protect herself. She said, "Kept my cool under lock and key, and I never shed a tear, another sign of my condition." That one, I was like, I think she was saying that like the fact that she was able to keep herself like so distanced from people and stay so hard about it also spoke to where she was at. The fact that she could keep herself like under lock and key, like to keep that distance and do it without even being sad about it. Or it could be like, I mean, that was kind of what I was thinking. Fear of love or bitter vanity, they kept me on the run, the main events at my confession. And I don't know, so that was kind of like that chunk of it, but when she got to I kept a chain upon my door that would shake the shame of Cain into a blind submission. You made a reaction. So kind of like, can you give me your kind of...
Well, the shame of Cain is an interesting line, which the idea is like Cain was like the worst of the worst, but even he would have a breakdown trying to get through to her. See what I'm saying? So Cain, it just seems to me that
so that's more the same.
She's in a cycle of choosing bad men, but then only allowing them to get so far to her. You know, so like that inner chamber, like she's not gonna let anybody get inside of her, which it could be a literal issue, or it could be she's been hurt or whatever, and now she's, you know. But the next line, the burning ghost without a name was calling all the same, but I wouldn't listen. So that there's something like following her around. And I'm not sure that the burning ghost without a name is saying anything bad to her, because she's saying
I didn't take that as that either.
She's saying I wouldn't listen. So it looks like the burning ghost without a name was actually telling her, open up your heart, blah, 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 but she's not going to listen.
But then...
Who do you think the burning ghost is? See, I think the burning ghost is the one guy that was nice to her that got away.
And I thought it was what she could have if she let these walls down to get it. Like... The burning ghost without a name was calling all the same, but I wouldn't listen. So like that idea of what she could have outside if she broke down the walls was always calling to her, but she couldn't do it because she needed the protection of those walls. Then she said,
So she thought.
Or so she thought, yeah. The longer I'd stall, the further I'd crawl, the harder I'd fall. I was crawling into the fire. And so that part to me was just unbelievably crazy. I wish she would have repeated this part twice, like from this and the other point. But I kind of got from this that like the longer I'd stall, like it's not good to stall on something that you need to take care of. So she recognizes that she has these walls and she has love calling to her from the outside to break them down and not to live like that. But she stalls on it. And when she stalls on it, the longer I'd stall, the further I'd crawl. And so she's categorizing this lifestyle inside of these walls as crawling. And then she says, the further I'd crawl, the harder I'd fall. And then the longer that she left herself in there, the deeper she fell into that, I need more walls, I need more walls. So she went in deeper. And then she says, I was crawling into the fire. So where she was going that she thought that was going to protect her actually became her demise.
Which is it's one of the main things I'd be in a situation where people would come to me for advice about life or whatever. And the thing about defense mechanisms is, you know, people, when you say defense mechanism, people automatically interpret that as like something bad, something wrong, blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. But a block is a defense mechanism. Mm-hmm. Locking your door is a defense mechanism.
Right.
Wearing a jacket in the wintertime is a defense mechanism. Wearing less clothes during the summertime is a defense mechanism. So defense mechanisms are valid when there's a threat. And the fact of the matter is, relationship-wise and otherwise, there are threats out there. Mm-hmm. And so you're not supposed to give your heart to every dude that says something nice to you. You're not supposed to tell the deepest, darkest, you know, the scripture says to guard your heart because wherein is the springs of life. So you can't, you're not supposed to do that. I certainly don't. But the problem becomes when you over apply the defense mechanism. The defense mechanism can then kill you. So for example, if you're in Alaska or if you're in Russia in the dead of winter, you need to layer up. And if you do not layer up, you're gonna die. Mm-hmm. Well, great. If I put you on an airplane and put you into the middle of the Sahara Desert and you're layered up like that, you're also, that is actually gonna kill you.
Right.
So the defense mechanism that worked in Alaska will kill you in Africa and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And so that's what a lot of people have to understand about defense mechanisms. It's like, it's important to keep certain people at bay, but you just have to recognize, is this an African or is this an Alaska situation, right? And so I'm extremely selective about who I let in and all that. And there's this sort of idea you're just supposed to let everybody in. People are, you don't let me in. I'm like, yeah, like what? You know what I'm saying? Like, we were never really friends. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know we were never really friends. Like, I kept you there for a very specific reason. And a lot of it, like, I see, you know, a lot of people don't agree with the way I prosecute my relationships with people, and I'm not sure I'm completely correct. But one of the things it does is it helps me to watch people. So, like, I hold people at a certain distance like that. Like, we'll be cool, you know, be life of the party, whatever. But I hold you at a certain, and I watch you. And I watch how shit happens when there's a conflict. And I watch how, you know, are you a loyal person? Are you gonna jump ship when shit gets critical, blah, blah, blah. So by the time something really happens, I know pretty much how they're gonna act. And I go, okay, I kept this person at 10 degrees and that's why. So then when they do flip on you, like, there's no, oh my God, I can't believe, like, people will do, if you observe people in their normal life, people were going to do in a crisis what they were doing before the crisis. Mm-hmm. You know, if they were a coward, if they were a disloyal, soft, cowardly person, if they were talking shit about you behind your back when there were no actual issues happening, then when shit gets real, they're gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? If they, and you can't be angry at those people. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's like you gotta accept people for where they're at. So if the person's, that's how they are, that's how they are. I never turned that into anger. I just turned that into information. I was like, okay, that person is a 15 degree person now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then when shit gets hectic, then they start playing the victim or whatever. But, you know, that's kind of how I look at it. So the problem though is, like, you're not interesting. So Matt said, I never interpret this about a romantic or a sexual relationship.
Yeah, that's why I said I'm reading this as how she feels about.
And
like,
I don't necessarily take it as a romantic relationship either, because I operate this way with friends and acquaintances and coworkers.
Wait, so how is he interpreting it?
I know. I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear how he's interpreting it. But, like, yeah, I completely understand that mentality. Like, but the other thing is like, she says she's never known happiness, and that's one of the things. It's like, you have to make it. You have to triage between securityness and happiness.
This line right there.
Or security and happiness.
Remember how I said she started it out like talking about like why she put up the walls, the penetration thing, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. This line, suddenly it occurred to me the reason for the run and hide had totaled my existence. And that line to me is so real, because I've talked to so many girls that have, like, if my interpretation is correct, and that's where I'm going with it, that action, like that level of violation of your person, and then the disregard societally that happens afterwards is traumatizing. You know, I was, talking to some teenage girls recently.
Yeah.
And
what is harder?
What?
To contend with, that disregard, or
that's what it is for all of them.
The actual.
Yep, that's what it is. It's the
itself.
Disregard, because you've been your life as you knew it is over. It is done. Because now you recognize how evil. Yeah, I mean, one time, like, I remember, like, my stuff got stolen out of my car, and we didn't make much money per year. And so that stuff, like, they were electronics, and getting that stolen was super frustrating. And I remember looking at everybody after that being like, it was probably that person. It was probably that person. I started feeling like everybody around me was a crook. Remember, you laughed when I said that, crook. Yeah. Anyway, but, like, I think that's what happens. Like, once that happens, you recognize how unsafe you are. And then you realize even more, because when you go and you try to talk about it, like, everything gets belittled and brought down to nothing, and then there's no repercussions for the people that do that, and that they're just going to go on their merry way. And then when you talk to it's really, really extremely disheartening.
Wow. It's
extremely disheartening. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, because as a woman, you have a choice after that happens, where it's like you want to be angry because of something that happened. I mean, obviously, and you should be angry. But then it's like you have to find a way to be able to have that work on that anger and not feel like that you've, like, left yourself in the dust because that happened to you, and then society is not protecting you, and you don't want to feel like you're not protecting that past version of yourself. So but you still have to find healing, and you still have to be able to not live underneath the threat of that your entire life, which is, I think, what she's saying. Suddenly it occurred to me the reason for the run and hide had totaled my existence. And so I think it's like, is that event going to total your existence? And I think that that's part of the reason why in the Old Testament that when you did that, like the penalty for that was death. Like you die. You did that to that girl, you die. You took a life, in a sense. Like she's alive and she's breathing, but you took a life. You took a life.
It just says, yeah.
So,
that's what it says.
You know, and you know, when I talk to these women, and it's just, I think it's the and I think it's the amount of time that people will get if they crush bald-eagled eggs compared to how much time they'll get if they assault a woman. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, we see what it is. We see how you feel about it.
We see the value.
You know, when you go down to the station with your friend and the cop says, well, you know, like, he grabbed your hand and put it on him, well, then you kind of assaulted him. Are you serious? The fact that he's a man and he's twice her size, and he did, well, you know, it's kind of a and it's just not taken seriously. He's like, I understand it's frustrating. Frustrating? You know? And like I said, I was talking to some teenage girls recently, and something happened to their friend. And I knew that nothing was going to happen to that guy. And he wrote stuff. He threatened her over text, everything, and nothing. I had to walk those girls through that. How do you face that? How do you tell? I knew it was coming because I knew that it happened, and I knew that society was going to do nothing for that girl. And I knew that I was going to have that conversation with those girls. That's a hard conversation.
It is interesting, too, like, how you read that and you saw penetrate, so you went, like, there was some sort of sexual trauma. I, as a dude, completely missed that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's just interesting, like, the way that art works. It's like, yeah, like something happened. I just assumed there was a bad relationship, but like those little subtleties. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, just shows like how our, you know, experiences inform our
interpretation.
I was like listening to this guy who was talking about the Bible, and you know, I don't completely agree with what he says, but the guy was basically saying. The conservative was basically saying, yeah, you just read the thing and the thing is right there and you can interpret it, you know, no problem. You don't need, you know, and the other guy was like laughing at him, like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, you honestly believe that you're just coming and just reading the passage and there aren't all these other factors that are dictating how you're interpreting that you're just reading the data. So it's just fascinating. Like I'm like, how did the hell did you get there? I'm like, okay, penetrated. Whoa, that's a stretch. And I'm like, wait a second, no, like. Think about the collective experience women in this culture have had. Completely makes sense. It's still a crazy thing to watch. You know what I'm saying? And be like, yo, how did you get there? You know? So.
But it was at the end. I
really
thought it was kind of painful because it seemed like she didn't get out. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, man. A lot of these stories don't always have happy endings, and there isn't always a clean resolution to those issues.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, artists are doing that shit just to save their own lives. They're not even trying to figure out. You know, they just got to get that shit out of there. So I appreciated the fact that there was no like triumphant sort of resolution to the issue.
Yeah. This one, obviously, because the interpretation really to me, because I do think 100%. I think it's the plight and the understanding that women in our society, and I'm sure all societies. I mean, so yeah, I this is a 9.8 respectfully from me.
Yeah, same thing, 9.8 as well. Very interesting song to close the stream out with. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. We had legendary technical difficulties. Hopefully, I don't know, man. I think we got to find some way to lock that door because I think the kids having access to this thing is also hurting.
Yeah, I think something's going on. Yep.
To a very small degree.
Yep.
Okay, guys. So thank you all very much for hanging out. We will be back very, very soon. We got more of these Ronin streams I think are coming together. It was a very, very interesting stream because you got usually it's a 7-song thing. You're getting one person, so you're getting like one person's kind of like energy, even though they're like separate. This one was like all over the place, different. So I really appreciated that. Sons of Silver, Who's Gonna Stop Us? Okay, I will make sure to look out for them. I'll like listen to the first 20 seconds, Matt, because we don't listen to anything anymore. Because we want to have it here.
Our experience.
Thank you so much, Middle. Thank you so much for the very detailed review. If anybody wants to help us out with the Amazon.com stuff,
I'm gonna go read it after.
Yeah. We'll read it together. Much love to all you beautiful people. If you know anybody that needs baby formula, refer them to us. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go.